Hello, and welcome back to my journey from normal to Norway. I'm just going to admit right at the top of this video that the reason I'm filming this tonight is a little bit vain. So just yesterday, I finally watched Russian Doll on Netflix. I've been meaning to watch it. I've had it on my list for months and months and months, and just finally did it. And, in addition to enjoying it when I thought about the show and all of that, something that I did notice was the haircut of the main character. And I was just really thinking, that's what I would like to do next. I'm trying to grow out my hair a bit right now. It's been on the shorter side for a little while, and trying to grow it out. And so it's in this weird kind of in between phase. And I was thinking, okay, like when I feel like it's long enough, I'm going to go to get a cut, and I'm going to say this is what I'm going for. And then today I was at work, and I was in the bathroom, and I was washing my hands, and I look up in the mirror, and I just kind of had this thought, my hair does look like that. And the weird thing is, okay, so my hair dries super differently every single day. Like you never know what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And so for today, I was pretty happy with it. I mean, I will say I think it looked better in person than it does on my phone right now, but that's okay. I was just really excited when I had that discovery, and so I feel like it's kind of seldom where I'm feeling like not just neutral, but like really happy with how my hair looks. And so I thought, okay, I did have something to talk about. I could have done it tomorrow night, but I'm going to go ahead and do this tonight because who knows what my hair will look like tomorrow. Not this. But anyway, so there's that. Okay, now the reason for this video, I had this really interesting experience this weekend, which really, I guess, started last week. Had some issues with paying my rent, which has never happened. I am very much a rule follower. I mean, my top two strengths in the Strengths Finder thing, if you know what that is, are responsibility and discipline. So it's really important to me to be dependable, and a big part of that is being on time and doing things on time. And I don't make late payments and things like that. And so my understanding all these years is that my rent can be paid up through the 4th without, being late. And so it got to the 4th last week, and got home from work, and it was nighttime, and I went to pay my rent online, and it was saying, that paying online was not available at that time. And so I immediately called the management company and left a voicemail. Even though I knew it was after hours, I wanted to have proof. I wanted to show, like, I tried to pay this on time. And then the next day was not fun. There was some back and forth where they ended up saying that no, it's in fact due on the 3rd. And so it was late, and I was going to have to pay a late fee, which was extremely high for it being 1 day late, according to them. And that I would not be able to pay it online. And I have long work hours with a long commute, and I can't get to banks when they're open, and can't get to the management company's office when they're open. And so anyway, I had this phone call where I was basically like, it was on my lunch hour, and I was like shaking and ended up crying afterwards with my coworkers, because I just hate that feeling so much of being in trouble, of doing something wrong when I don't think I did, but I was made to feel like I did something wrong, and I was made to feel like I'm a bad tenant and irresponsible, and just all these things that just made me feel so yucky, because that's just not who I am. I have never caused any sort of fuss. I'm not loud. I'm not disrespectful to my neighbors. I mean, it's just, I was just made to feel so awful. So that was not a fun experience. But anyway, on that phone call, I let them know the first time that I'd be able to get to a bank when they were open is Saturday. So they, gave me a code to get into the building, so that I could, leave my rent and the late fees over the weekend. So I get to Saturday, I go to the bank, I get a cashier's check, which I've never done before, and you have to pay extra for that, which I didn't know, and that was a bummer. And then, I'm not gonna lie, I did get the late fees in cash in all ones. So yeah, I did that. And, sorry, I got a little sick today. Everybody at work is sick. Kids going back to school and getting sick and then getting their parents sick, and it's the whole thing. Anyway, so on top of that, I wrote a note, and here's the deal. There are some women who work in the office of the management company of my building, and they seem perfectly nice. But the owner is this man who is awful. Just treats people terribly. He's a bully. Just abuses his position of power. If you look up the management company online, there's just terrible reviews about him on Yelp. And thank goodness I have not had to interact with him much over the last 8 years. But I do have a couple of really negative scenarios that come to mind, these instances, things that have happened. He's just not a good person. So anyway, I wrote this note to him, that was saying all positive things and could be read in a positive light, but a lot of it could also have double meanings, and it was just petty. It was a really petty thing to do. But I'd spent a couple of days composing this note in my head, and I wrote it out, and I put it all in an envelope, and went to the building on Saturday and put it under their welcome mat in front of the door. And then I was sick to my stomach. I spent the rest of the weekend just absolutely sick about it, and just running all of these what ifs in my head. And I mean, this guy can be really irrational and get irate very quickly, and I just kind of imagine him, kicking me out of my apartment. It was just, it was not good. I had a really difficult, 36 or so hours there. And it got to the point where it was so bad where it just did not feel right. I couldn't stand it. So I, last night, drove back over there, and, used the code to get back in the building. And thank goodness my, envelope was still under the welcome mat outside their door, and I'd brought a new envelope with me, so ripped open the old one, took out the cashier's check for my rent, the cash for the late fees, put that in the new envelope, stuck it back down under the mat, walked away, and kept my petty note with me, which made me feel a lot better. So, of course I don't like that this guy and other people like him can get away with stuff, and seem to be prospering. It's that idea of bad people prospering and getting what they want. And I don't like that. But it kind of just led to this discovery for me, this kind of clear knowledge that that's not who I am, that I don't have that aspect to my character, which was really comforting. I mean, obviously I can have those thoughts, and I can say some things with my friends and whatnot and kind of get it out of my system that way, but as far as actions go, I'm not a petty person. I can't do things like that. That's not who I am. And that actually made me feel good. So it just kind of got me thinking about, I feel like a lot of life is us trying to figure out who we are. And this From Normal to Norway journey is a lot of that for me, of finding out who I am, and who I want to be, and how I want my life to be. Um, and that can be really hard to figure out, those things of who you are, the things that make up you. I feel like that those can be difficult to discover sometimes. And then even once you discover them, difficult to accept maybe sometimes. Um, if there's something, if you're used to believing bad things about yourself and you find out something good about yourself, it can be hard to believe those. But I think maybe finding out who you're not can be easier sometimes. And this was a case of that for me. And so I think, as you kind of like, I guess, with sculpture, not that I know anything about that or can do that at all, maybe it's like, chipping away those pieces that you're not, to reveal who you are. So this is just, I guess, another piece chipped away for me, which is exciting. So anyway, that's my most recent discovery about myself. And as always, I would love to hear back from y'all. If you're out there watching this, I would love to hear from you, who you're not, those pieces that you've discovered about yourself that you've been able to chip away through life experience, to get closer and closer to discovering the core of who you are. I would love for us to share those stories with each other. So I guess that's it for tonight. I'll be back with you soon. And as always, until next time, ha det.